10 types of Final Fantasy XIV players. Final Fantasy XIV is grand-packed with several different ways to play the game, and any player can take any option possible or even every option possible, but some players stick to only one or two choices. So today I'm gonna go through 10 of those types of players that I've noticed or even met while playing the game, and even I myself have tried most of these options. Before we get into it though, 95% of you guys watching my videos are not subscribed to me, so if you enjoyed this video, then please consider subscribing for weekly content. We're super close to 1,000, so I would appreciate it. Also, some of you were asking me to make a Discord server, so I made it, and the link to that will be in the description of each video from here on out. Now though, let's get into it. Number one is the casual player. These players basically do everything, but they don't do a lot of something. They might collect some glamours, they might lounge around at an FC house, they might not even be in an FC, but if they are, they're probably the most casual player you're going to see in that FC. They're probably not raiding that much, or if they do, then just a little bit. They might try out hardcore content, they might try gambling, they might try crafting, but they might not actually go so far into something that they're doing. Overall, the casual player is someone who just wants to try everything out and then figure out how they can turn into one of these other players. Or they can stay the casual forever, just trying things out one at a time and having fun with each aspect of the game without actually putting all of their time into one specific thing. I would consider myself to be this, but I do periodically change to do something else for a little while, then I go back to doing nothing, and then yeah, that's basically what the casual is all about. Number two is glamour collectors. These players will do whatever they can to get the right outfit that they've always wanted, whether it's doing some really difficult late game content or doing anything that requires a ton of mindless grinding. But as long as you end up with that amazing outfit that you've always wanted, then it's worth it. I personally have a ton of different outfits and I love glamour collecting, and like a lot of people say, glamour collecting is basically the end game of Final Fantasy. So I feel like everybody is just a little bit of a glamour collector, but then there's those certain ones that spend all day every day just trying to get new outfits just to show them to all their friends or their FC members. Number three, the loungers. These are people who finish the main story, and what they do after the main story is nothing, but they're still logging into the game. You could see these people mostly around FC houses or even hub areas where they're just standing around all day, most likely AFK, but if you go up to them and talk to them, they'll be back at their computer ready to talk to you. I, for the most part, am a lounger. Like when I'm just chilling, I am sitting at my FC house or I'm sitting at a hub area, and I see so many other people doing the exact same thing. But when the lounger has an idea of what to do, then they go do it, and once they're done, they go back to lounging. Rather than logging out, they lounge around. That's the lounger. Number four, the raiders. So this is the first one that I don't exactly relate with because I haven't tried this yet, but I have met some raiders, and for the most part, raiders are players who want to try the newest endgame content. They want to get the loot from the latest content. They want to complete the latest content to say that they did, and most of the time, raiders actually have a raid group where they set up specific times and dates to do these raids because they can be really difficult, and it's definitely something that I want to try to get into eventually, but I'm just finishing Endwalker, so I can't do that quite yet. But what I do know is raiders always make themselves present by wearing their newest, flashiest gear, and I love it. Number five, role players. You know one when you see one because there's literally a tag in the game that tells you if somebody is a role player, and these players go around doing exactly that. Most of the time in the game, people set up events where role players can go and do what they do together. If you're sitting around a hub area, you're most likely going to see a message on your chat that says, go to this place at this time, and then you can do some cool RP stuff, and that's where they mostly go. Sometimes you can even see role players role-playing in the chat in main areas as well, but for the most part, these players spend most of their time doing exactly that. They go to certain areas or they go wherever they need to go to roleplay, and rather than playing the actual game, they roleplay instead, which is fine, because technically it's part of the game, and we're not even going to talk about the vicious ERPers. Number six, crafters. Crafters are exactly what the name entails. These are the people who level all of their gatherers and crafters to maximum level, so then they can craft whatever they could possibly need to craft in this game. And if you're lucky enough to be friends with a crafter who is one of the nice crafters, then if you give them the materials that you need to craft something, they'll probably craft it for you, because why not? They spent all of that time leveling their crafters, so why shouldn't they put it to some use, even if it's not for themselves? And most of the time, you can find them around hub areas just crafting all the time. You never know what they're crafting, but you can see that they are on a grind. Crafters are usually the type of player to be very wealthy in this game because that is one of the best ways to make gil in this game. Number 7, performers. Performers, once again, are exactly what the name entails. They go around the map performing music. While most people use alternate programs to just play the music for them, there are also performers who try to learn the music manually in this game, and that's what I tried for a while. It is really difficult because there's a weird delay to it, but it's super fun. Performers play all types of music, like Mario, Legend of Zelda, Final Fantasy music even. So many different genres of music are going to be heard when you're walking around hub areas or walking around the map in general, and if you clap for them or cheer for them while they're performing, they might even bow at the end. Number 8, Fantasia Addicts. These are a bit more rare because it requires you to have a lot of money to spare, but Fantasia Addicts are players who constantly change their player, whether it's their appearance or their actual race itself, their gender, whatever. Fantasia Addicts are changing their character all of the time, spending a lot of money on Fantasia potions. If you're friends with one day they'll be a Rothgar, and then the next day they're gonna be a Catboy. 1 week later, they're gonna be a Lalafell, and then eventually they'll go back to being a Rothgar. It is a very confusing but fun person to know. Number 9, the gamblers. Most of the time you're gonna find gamblers wandering around the gold saucer, whether it's using the actual machines, which don't give you that much, or doing triple triad, or doing their quests to get more MGP, even chocobo racing, that kind of counts as well, or even the special events in the gold saucer, which are really fun to do. Regardless, most of the time you're gonna find gamblers here because they find gambling in this game a lot of fun, and while they might not be the most rich players when it comes to gil, you know that they're gonna have a lot of MGP to spare. Number 10, the lone wolf. Now this is a bit different than everything else on the list, but this is the type of player who doesn't really join an FC, doesn't socialize, and kind of plays the game like it's a single player game, which is just fine. They might not even say hi when they go into an instance, and again, they might not even join an FC, they might not socialize at all. If you interact with them, they might not reply. You might not even find them AFKing around the map because they're constantly doing something, and when they're done, they're gonna log off. Every game obviously needs players like this, and I think it's kind of cool how they're giving options later in the game to actually be the lone wolf. Like, you don't need to play with players if you don't want to. And yeah, that's gonna do it. 10 types of Final Fantasy XIV players. Which one are you? Leave a comment down below. Personally, I think I'm a mix of a lot of them, like the casual, the glamour collector, the lounger. I got into crafting as well, so kind of a crafter, but not so much. I was a performer at one point, and I definitely was a gambler at one point, but now I'm just this weird, ugly mesh of all of those things at once. But if you would place yourself in the title of one of these specific things, then leave a comment letting me know. And once again, 95% of you watching this video right now are not subscribed to me, so if you ended up enjoying this video and you want to see more from me, I have 2 videos before this one, and I'm going to be posting about once a week. And again, huge thank you to everybody who subscribed. Right after my first video that I uploaded, we got 900 subscribers, and the video was doing really well. Then all of a sudden, YouTube just cut it off, and it stopped getting views entirely, and that really sucks. So hopefully YouTube doesn't hate me in this one, but yeah, I'll see you guys later.